So we're here at Bike Night at Hinckley Triumph Visitor Centre, and we're really pleased that Dick Shepherd has brought out one of his very special machines, not just to look at, but actually he's fired it up and it sounds incredible. But Dick, this desert sled then, tell us a little bit more about this.
Well, this is originally a 1963 SC. It was built by Johnson Motors, but it was reworked in 1966. So they've used the 63 engine number and frame number, but the frame and casings are from a 66 bike.
Okay.
It's had a lot of work done on it. Runs a longer swinging arm, because obviously when you're riding these in the desert, you want a longer frame, so it gives you straight stability. And also what they've done here, if you can just notice here, because it's running a big Vokes desert filter, they've had to chop the frame to bring this air cleaner tube through into the back of the filter. You know, that's a lot of work. But also this runs a 750 alley barrel. So she's 750cc, not 650cc.
Okay.
And as you can see here, we've got breathers on everywhere. There's breathers on the rockers, the gearbox, the crankcase. So we've got 6 breather tubes, 3 each side, because obviously the heat in the desert, she would have been breathing a lot. But if you come around this side, you can see, being a unit engine, it wouldn't have been fitted with a magneto. So this has all been chopped and re-welded here, front of this case and the rear of the case, to take on a mag. So it runs a magneto. But what's really interesting about this engine inside, different desert venues that this would have raced at, they would have used different camshafts. So if you take this case off, you can actually take the camshafts out of this engine without stripping and splitting the engine.
Oh, wow.
And how they've done that, on the bushes on this side, the top hat is normally on the inside, so you can't pull the camshaft out. So they've turned the bushes round, and there's 2 little screw pegs that hold the bushes in. So you undo the screw pegs, pull the bushes out, and then the case here is cut to take the lobe of the cam out. Obviously you've got to hold the tappets and release the tappets, but you would then pull the cams out, put fresh cams in, retime it, and then off you'd go without having all the work of stripping the engine down.
So would that allow flexibility to change the cam depending on the course they were racing
Absolutely,
on?
yeah. Different courses you'd need different radius cams.
Yeah. Wow.
But the oil tank's been altered as well, because it's got a Bates desert seat on here. Normally the filler cap would be underneath here and you wouldn't be able to get to it. So they've reworked the filler cap on the back of the oil tank here. But also runs a fork brace to stop the forks whipping. It's pretty trick. It's got an under shield here, because obviously when you're tearing through the desert, often you'd come across a rock sticking up. And we're just rebuilding a 1962 pre-unit that was built for Bud Eakins, and all these tubes here were smashed to bits.
Oh, really? Where it just
gone through the sump shield.
Wow.
So we've had to braze all the tubes up, and then we've made a new sump shield for it. But this one wasn't too bad. This runs a aluminium, a high dural shield.
And the gearbox then, Dick, is there any the ratios in there specific for
pretty
racing,
standard.
Or?
No, they're pretty standard. Funny enough, Bud's bike, the pre-unit one, he's running a wide ratio gearbox, but I'm pretty certain this one, in fact this one's got a wide ratio in it as well. Yeah, this one runs a wide ratio as well.
And these were obviously raced in America then, so you mentioned Johnson. So
well, there was two main distributors in America. There was Johnson Motors and Tricor. One was East Coast and one was West Coast. And what they'd done, they would have picked out different riders and they would have sponsored them. In fact, they probably supplied the bike and had alterations done. But this mag conversion, we're pretty certain 2 brothers done this. They were engineers. A friend of mine in America has got one of the other 3, and then another one is in a Rickman frame. But this is the only one that's had this major work done on the frame here to take the air cleaner tube. So whoever rode this must have been a pretty trick rider.
Pretty serious stuff, yeah. And what sort of condition was this in then when you acquired this one, Dick?
Well, it was in a hell of a state being a desert racer. The other thing it runs as well is a 19-inch rear wheel. 419 inch. And you can see it's got these rear shocks, because it's got a longer swinging arm by 2 inches. The rear shocks are 1 inch longer, because you must have this swinging arm at a drop position, not straight or running up, because you can't get the grip on the rear.
Okay.
So that's why she runs longer shocks, to compensate for the longer swinging arm.
And what sort of top speed would they got up to when they were racing these?
Because of the rear sprocket, you're probably looking at about, well, I don't think you'd want to be going any faster on sand in the desert than about 70, 75 mile an hour.
Yeah,
but
it'd be pretty scary of that, wouldn't it? You'd know about it.
But this thing wheelies in every gear.
I'll do it, yeah, with the ratio that's on there.
It's a pretty trick thing, you know.
And how many horsepower is it putting out, do you think?
Well, it's 750cc, so horsepower, I think it's, depending on the cams you'd use, it's a bit hard to say what horsepower, but yeah, she's pretty light and pretty trick, you know.
And have you ridden it much since it's been done then?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
We took it back from here last week just to get it running for this event, because it stood in a museum for a couple of years, and we had a little fly around on it, and yeah.
And is there any other examples similar to this then? You say it was one of three,
well,
I believe.
It's the magneto conversion, from what we can make out. As I say, there was about 3 we know of. There might have been more, but there's definitely 3 done exactly the same as this. As I say, one's in a Rickman frame.
Yep.
The other one's in a Triumph unit frame. Belongs to a friend of mine. His one, if you look at it, it's in a hell of a state. He says the guy got off it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, we cannot identify who rode this one, which is annoying, you know.
But with all its unique features, it is
I'm sure someone will
bike.
see some pictures one day and say, I remember who rode that, because this, as I say, with the alteration of the frame, is pretty unique.
Some serious alterations and tuning on, isn't it?
If it wasn't raining, I'd love to have a little fly up there.